Today, we're gonna make these amazing, delicious, soft cornmeal buns. Actually, Mom's gonna make them and I'm gonna watch so I learn how to make them so that you can learn how to make them. Let's cue that intro. Welcome back to my mini homestead, and today I'm in the kitchen with my mom and she's going to teach me how to make my favorite cornmeal buns. So stay tuned and we're going to do these buns. So here's the recipe for the cornmeal buns, but I will be posting this below. So if you go down below, you will find this recipe. So right now what we're doing is getting the yeast to rise. So it was a tablespoon of yeast and half a cup of lukewarm water. And it's also sprinkled with a teaspoon of white sugar just to get everything to activate. Once this is ready, we can start making the buns, or Mom can. I'm watching. So there's our yeast in our bowl back here. And then we start off with a teaspoon of salt, half a cup of butter or margarine. So if you're doing vegan, you could use margarine, half a cup of brown sugar, half a cup of cold water, half a cup of cornmeal, a cup and a half of hot water, and 4 cups of flour. So those are all the ingredients that we need. We will need a pot on the stove to cook the cornmeal, but there's steps we gotta go through first. We're all set for Mom to get started. And of course, you have to have a large bowl. So I can't tell, this Tupperware bowl is so old, who knows? But the key to this bowl is it has a lid for the dough to rise. All right, and Mom's gonna come in and get going and show us how to make these. So there she is, the star of the hour. I need to tell you that most of what I've learned about cooking is my mom and my grandmother. So these are so good. Let's get started and Mom's gonna show us how to make these.
We're going to start, and we have to make our mush first. That's what it's called. We take our cornmeal and our water, and it's cold water, and we mix them together until this is all blended together. Then we take it to the stove, to our boiling water, and we will add it to that so that it doesn't boil all over and burn you, because many times, I don't know if anybody's cooked cornmeal, it bubbles all over. Then we're going to, while we're doing that, we're going to add our margarine and our brown sugar to that. So that's what I'm going to do. Meet me at the stove.
This is the hot water that we had in the bowl over there. It's on the stove and it's just started to boil, so you need it to be doing that. And adding in the cornmeal. Mush.
And you have to work quickly with this. It thickens up lovely. And then you take and you continue to stir it and watch so it does not take and bubble up and burn you, which it can do very easily. So we'll just watch that now so that it thickens, and then we will add our brown sugar and our margarine to it. But it must be thick first, so we'll take and we'll just heat that up until it thickens.
So basically you just want it to absorb all the water that's in the pot.
Well, you want to make it a mush out of it.
Yeah.
It's like porridge. You want to have it thick, and it doesn't take long. And it cools it down when you add the cold water and cornmeal. It cools down your hot water that's there for a few minutes. But I can already feel it's starting to thicken. And so once you see that the water's all gone, you know that you have the right consistency. And I'll let it just start to bubble, because I do not want it to take and burn me, because it can start bubbling very quickly, and cornmeal does jump right out of the pot like that. Okay, so I'm going to shut the heat off. I'm going to move it from the heat. I'm going to add the margarine to it and the brown sugar mix that in till it is melted into it.
I mean, that'd probably be just good to eat like that.
Oh yeah, this is just like a
potted,
real
a porridge.
Nice porridge, yeah, you can do that too. But this is mainly your thickening or your water mixture for your buns.
Oh, so this is our moisture item.
Yeah, you just keep working at it because that is hot, and your margarine, you can see, is melting very quickly.
Could you cut the margarine in cubes?
You can.
Okay.
And because this is so hot, we cannot add the yeast to it yet. So what I do is I will get a metal bowl and put ice in it and put this in there so that it cools it down quicker. So I don't have to wait for an hour for it to cool down.
So do you want it to actually be cool or just slightly warm when you add the yeast?
Just warm. You just warm. You don't, because otherwise if it's too hot, it will, the yeast
And if
will
it's
not
too
work.
cold, it's not good either, right?
No. As you can see, I hardly have any margarine left. It's almost gone there. You just keep stirring it in so it's all blended. Okay, it's all blended. Now what I'll do is I will get my bowl and put ice in it and put this on it.
Oh.
There I have my bowl of ice and water, and I set my pan in there so that it will help to, and I stir it as it's sitting there to move the hot mush around so that it cools down faster. Now my mush has cooled down so that I'll be able to add the yeast to it. I just put it in my bowl, and I'm using a large Tupperware bowl because it has a lid, so it's nice and covered for when I let it rise. But anybody, you can use whatever is convenient for you, and just put a tea towel over top of it to let it rise. Okay, now I'm going to add the yeast, and I like to mix it up so that I get it all away from the side of the bowl. And we just pour that in and mix it in with our mush. And I just mix that in so it's nice and juicy. You can see it's getting more liquidy, and that's what you want. And just work it in nicely with your mush. Okay, everything has blended in nicely. Now I will add in my salt, and then I start to add in my flour. And it says that you can use 4 to 5 cups. I usually use 4, and it just depends. Sometimes the weather changes what you're working with, and I just add a little at the time and work it in so it all blends in smoothly. And you just keep working till you get the nice round dough. And just keep working the sides because you don't want flour sitting on the sides of your bowl. And this is what it's looking like, and you just keep working it in. And then you keep adding flour until you've got the consistency that you would like. And again, just keep working your sides down so it blends in nicely.
So do you usually do like 4 parts?
It depends on
How it's coming together?
and what falls out of the bowl.
A good warm workout?
Yep.
I mean arm workout, not warm. Can you have the little monster outside the door wanting in? He can see you working.
Okay, now what I do is I'll take and put some flour on my counter, and then I will work it into the dough. And you want a nice soft bun. You don't want the dough stiff. And just keep working it in so it's, and if you feel 4 cups is too much, then go less, but you have to work it in so that it is a nice consistency. This is one way of getting your exercise for the day. And I can feel that it's working in and it's starting to get on the sticky side. So then I know that I need to add a bit more flour. So that's what I will do now. I usually like using only 4 cups because it does make a softer bun than with 5 cups. But like I say, sometimes the weather can change it, the same as when you're making bread.
So for all us newbies or beginners at it, I think we'll probably do 4 cups and hope it works out. So basically you mixed in about 3 cups of flour and then kept the last cup for kneading it, right?
Yeah, and I can feel it starting to get sticky again, and that's what you want. And you know, then you need to add a bit more. And then it ends up that it still will be somewhat sticky even after you've added this, because dough is that way. You just blend this in really well. And you should get about 2 dozen buns out of this. And you don't make them big because you want a nice size dinner bun.
So I just want to show you the dough. It's been rising for 2 hours. What happened is the video cut out, but before Mom put the dough in here, she had oiled it, put some oil on top of the dough as well, and it is now sat here for 2 hours and ready to put it into actually brownie pans, and I'll tell you why in a second.
Now I'm going to take and knead my dough again. Not much, just take some of the air out of it. And now I'm going to take just little pieces, and roll them into a round bun, and I'm putting them into square pans because they rise really nice in there, nice square for what we want. And so I will fill those pans up, and then we will bake them. Now if you find that the dough is sticking to your hands, just take and put a little bit of oil in your hand and rub it around, and then you can start making your buns again. And now what we're going to do, we're going to take and put some on a flat pan, and we'll just oil it like we have oiled the other pan, and so that they come off of that just fine. Always try to work your dough underneath to your hand so that you've got a nice round bun there. Okay, because we're using a square pan, I want the buns to come out square, so I will take and press them down once I put them in so they do take on that shape, and then when they rise, they will rise so they're nice and square. And there we are. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the buns up with a tea towel so that the top of them stay nice and moist. Once they bake, they will get crisp, but I don't want them drying out before they go in the oven.
And how long do they stay like this?
They'll stay like this for about an hour.
Okay, so you give them an hour tries?
What we do is we usually leave them so they double in size.
So this is what your buns should look like after they've risen. They've puffed up really nice over top. So now they are ready to go into the oven. Now they're in the oven and they're set for 400 degrees. And for how long?
15 minutes.
For 15 minutes? I think they're ready to come out. Oh, those look good. So those are the ones that were done without the little pop-up. Man, those puffed up really nice. Oh, those ones aren't quite done? So just not dark enough, so Mom's just flipping them around, because obviously ours gets a little bit cooked more on one side than the other. So how much longer are you going to put them in for?
Oh, 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll be back in 3 to 5 minutes. So the timer went off, and we're just checking them. They are nice and brown, aren't they? So what we do is we just leave them in the pan for a few minutes so they sort of pull away from the edges, and then take them out of the pan. And we'll see what they look like when they're all out. And there we have our beautiful cornmeal bun, and it's still a bit warm. There's our beautiful bun. I'm just gonna put, looks so good. Now there's a reason these are my favorite buns. They are just so soft, and the flavor from the cornmeal is so good. That's heaven in a bun. I hope you like this video. The plan is to put out more food videos, so keep an eye out for Fridays. That's when I'll be posting the food videos. So, goodbye for now from My Mini Homestead. Be sure to subscribe and click that like button. And notify button. Talk to you later. Bye.